Welcome, listeners. Welcome back to In the House podcast. I'm here with Tony Singh. How are you doing, Tony?
Doing great, Jenny. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much. Well, it's been a very interesting market, and I'm not sure if it's good to be representing buyers right now. I feel like there's an abundance of them, but there's no homes to sell.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure, but like any market, right? Markets go up and down. You encounter new challenges every day. So it also can work. You just have to take a different approach, I suppose.
One thing that often is forgotten is as soon as you sell a house and you move in, maybe there's mixed match furniture. There's a lot of personality you want to add to your home. And so hiring a professional interior designer, I feel, is something that most people often forget in the process of buying a new home. So we wanted to introduce to you this very special guest and a dear friend of mine, Angela Robinson. I've actually known her for 13 years, and I'm so glad you were able to meet her, Tony, during
lovely.
this session. Yeah, and actually have been featured in a lot of magazines and CTV as well. She recently created this company called Spec. And so they're all about providing finishing schemes for your home, assembled for your home, assembled by interior designers, but also making it accessible to everyone. And what that means is that I know that not everyone can afford an interior designer. Like, Tony, when you bought your home, did you decorate it yourself or did you hire somebody, a professional?
That is a great question, and I did not. However, I certainly would now. So I definitely see the value in interior design because it's really allowing your personality, right, and your family's personality and what you're kind of, that feeling, that energy to shine through the home. And why not hire a professional to help you do that?
Well, I can say for hands-on, like she was great at decorating my home, and she's worked with a lot of my clients as well. And her partner, Tanya, recently started this company to provide pre-assembled packages where for that group of buyers or group of homeowners that don't have that budget and just want something not overly overwhelming, but want something that matches in their home and then accent it with their own personality and their style.
Exactly. And there's so many choices out there. What I love about their new business is that they're really getting in touch with a whole new consumer base. For people that can't necessarily afford that special one-on-one touch of hiring an interior designer from start to finish.
Right, yeah. So she mentioned specpackage.ca, and there's an incentive right now until May 31st. You can get 20% off plus free delivery using the code SAVE20. But I want you guys to listen to Angela in this podcast. It's actually amazing what the cost is. It's all under $1,000 for these packages. So without further ado, let's listen in on Angela. Hey guys, welcome back to In the House podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest. I just want to introduce Angela Robinson to today's podcast. I've known Angela, and she's a dear friend of mine for over 13 years now. And your experience, Angela, includes working with multifamily residential developments and custom high-end single-family homes. And you've worked on my house personally.
Yeah, years ago.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for including me. I feel so honored. So I'm happy to be here. And yeah, everything's good. Thanks.
Thank you for being here. So I want to bring you on because you have a wealth of knowledge about interior design and what's trending. And you've been featured in so many media, featured in the Vancouver Sun, Western Living Condo, Grey Magazine, Style at Home, CTV, Style at Home. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you started in the interior design business?
Sure, thank you. So I went to school on Vancouver Island for interior design, and then shortly after graduating from school, I worked for quite a large firm on Vancouver Island. They specialized in hospitality design and private residential. A couple of years after working with them, I made my way to Vancouver, and it was actually in 2008. So it was in the middle of there were no jobs available, of course, because it was we were going through the recession. So I teamed up with another local designer in Vancouver, and we started taking on small projects, like small decor projects and interior design projects. And then I met Tanya Shonroth, who's now my business partner, and actually I think I know you, Jenny, through Tanya. So that was maybe 16 years ago, like a long time ago. We teamed up, and Tanya's focus was more on the interior design. And then my focus and specialty was on interior decor, furnishing, custom artwork. So I had a business in Vancouver for a long time. On most of the projects, Tanya would do the interior design. And then with my company, I would do the decor. And then, of course, we did take on some private residential projects where we did the interior design and decor. And it just kind of evolved over time. And now I have recently teamed up with Tanya. We've become business partners on this new venture where we have essentially created a system around interior design. After working in the field for so many years, we just felt like there must be a way to create a system and make interior design available to everyone. Because of course, most of our clients were higher end residential clients, and not everyone has the budget or the timeline to hire an interior designer. So that's where we're up to now. And yeah.
What's the difference between interior design and decor? Because they work hand in hand. So to me, it's the same thing, but can you explain the difference?
Yeah. So what I mean is Tanya's specialty, for instance, is she does the drawings and the specifications and for the millwork, and she works on the floor plans and the layouts. And then she will draw up all the details for the home, like the millwork and everything from the fireplace to the rails on the staircase. And then she chooses all of the finishes, like the tile and the hardwood and the Schluter strips and the transition strips and all the plumbing fixtures. And so Tanya takes care of all of everything that's kind of built into a home. And then what I've been focused on is more the decor end of things, which is the furnishing, and we do a lot of custom furniture, any case goods, so anything that comes into the home after it's finished, and like pillows and area rugs and artwork. We do a lot of custom artwork so that we can really personalize our clients' homes. And yeah, so that's sort of the difference. Is Tanya takes care of everything that's built into the house, and then I have been taking care of the decor and everything that's brought into the house after it's finished to make it feel more like home.
Both sounds super fun.
Yeah.
I have a question too, if I can.
Yeah.
So spec sounds really, really interesting. What would the process be though, I guess, when you're taking clients through that? Because I would imagine all of their needs are a little bit different and their spaces are different too.
Yeah. So Spec is the new company that Tanya and I have recently launched. And so what it is it's pre-packaged, pre-curated interior design packages. So there's no decor, there's no furniture, artwork. It's just the finishes that are built into the home. So the packages work for new build or if you're renovating. And then we offer entire home packages, or we offer smaller packages that would be just for the kitchen or just for the bathroom. Actually, I can show you. So this would be the package for just the kitchen or the bathroom. And then you can compare it to the size of the box for the entire home. So it's much larger. And so what it is, it's basically like a paint by numbers interior design package. So we are professional designers, and we've created the packages, and the package includes a binder, and the binder has all the specifications you'll need, including plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, all of the hard finishes like the tile and the carpet and paint colors, cabinetry. And then Tanya has done up elevation drawings. So It is. So sorry, Tony, you were asking about what the process would be for the...
This sounds amazing, though. It's so intriguing because it's really like a prepackaged, everything would work well together, though, right? Yeah, so the process, like if somebody had come across you guys in Spec and they're thinking, gosh, maybe I want to renovate my home. This could be, and I don't have the eye for it, so I want to talk to Angela and Tanya about it.
Right, yeah. So the process is you would go online and onto our website, specpackage.ca, and then there you can see all the different schemes. So we've put together these custom schemes, and most of the schemes are similar to the aesthetic that we've recreated it for custom residential clients. So you know that all the finishes are going to coordinate, that the quality is going to be decent, and that your end outcome is going to be beautiful, and you don't have to worry about if things match or not. And so you choose a scheme that appeals to you. We have a filter option on our website. So if you're struggling to make a decision, you can go through the filter options and it'll narrow down the schemes for you. And then once you find a scheme that you like, you place the order, and then within a short period of time, like within a couple of weeks, you'll receive these boxes that are filled with, like I said, the binder. It's 100 for the entire home. It's a 120-page document, and then large scale samples of all the finishes. So I have some here, but like you receive full tile samples and like 12 by 12 floor tile samples and large counter samples. And then you receive for the flooring and the countertops, there's a more economical option. So we include like a laminate or vinyl alternative to the hardwood floor. And then we include a laminate option for the countertops. Maybe you want to save a bit in your laundry room, for instance. So once you have your package, then you can basically place the order, or your contractor can place the order for all the finishes. Or if you're wanting to add some personality, like a feature wall or maybe a brighter, bolder backsplash tile in your kitchen, then you can go ahead and reselect those items, but you don't have to start from scratch with all of the decisions. So it just gives you a nice blank.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, totally great idea. I love the idea of paint by number because that explains very clearly what this package is all about. So at what point in time would someone decide to go with the package, the spec package, versus actually hiring you to be more hands-on?
Well, there's a few different cases. So it could be because a client either can't justify the cost of an interior designer or they can't afford it. So the cost of a spec package is significantly less than hiring an interior designer, obviously. And so maybe they'd rather spend that extra money on like their light fixtures or towards their renovation. So that's one case. Also, these spec packages are ready to go. So going through the interior design process, obviously it takes a lot of time to work with your designer, get to know your designer, and make these decisions. So if you're in a rush to have all these decisions made, then a spec package could be an option for you. And then also, I was just speaking of like homeowners, and then there's also the developers who are building spec houses, or they're building like smaller like condos where they might just want these decisions made, but they don't have to be as personalized as they would be if you were working one-on-one with an interior designer. So so those are sort of the situations where you might choose a spec package over working with an interior designer. But we just want to be really clear, like we're interior designers and we're still taking on private residential clients, and we love interior designers, and there's lots of space for designers, and there's we're not looking to compete with designers. We're looking to be an alternative to for people who either can't afford or they don't have time to go through the design process.
There's obviously a market for that, because like you said,
Yeah.
not everyone can afford to hire on a package deal for an interior designer or on an hourly basis.
Right.
How many options are there in terms of rooms or color schemes?
I want to say there's like 9 options on our website right now. I could be wrong, but we have 5 schemes that are being photographed and rendered right now, so they'll be uploaded really soon. And so all of the options are available in the entire home or in the bathroom or just kitchen. So you can, if you're only renovating your ensuite, then you can just buy that section of the package. And we also are going to be introducing builder packages where we have a scheme, like one of the schemes is the Arbutus scheme. So it's an interior finishes scheme, but you can buy, there's 2 variations of it. So there's essentially 2 very similar schemes, but one is slightly darker, one's slightly lighter. And so those are meant for developers or builders that are wanting to give clients and homeowners the option between the 2 schemes. And Jenny, I know you know about that, working in the field that you do. And so, the finishes we've selected for those particular builder schemes are more budget conscious. So, so we'll be launching that soon too.
This is fantastic, Angela. It really sounds to me like you're just hitting a wider consumer base. And actually you have 11 options on the website right now.
It's, they've added up quickly. So
they're really nice.
Thank you. And we try to keep variety in the styles, but and then all of the schemes have been rendered. So we've rendered the bathroom and the kitchen for each one of the schemes, so you have a sense of what it will look like in the space. And so we're trying our hardest to make it very clear and to give people enough information to make the decision easier. But so.
Under the FAQs, you actually even have the spec package cost
compared to the interior design package, or compared to hiring an interior designer.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really hard to figure out how much what an interior designer would cost, just because it depends on the space, and then it can one conversation unfolds another conversation, whereas the spec package, it's right on your page how much it actually will cost you to buy the package.
Right. Yeah, so we have the price for the packages are all the same. We also have, if you go into the scheme, like select a scheme, you can see ballpark pricing for the interior finishes as well, because it's easy to spec like high-end finishes, but we've tried to keep the prices for the finishes reasonable. Of course, everyone's working within a budget, so within the website you should be able to get a good sense of like where the price of the finishes as well, like square footage price for the tile and the engineered flooring and whatnot. So
then you must have to constantly make sure that the supply is actually still available, like the color scheme and the model numbers and everything.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes because, of course, finishes are they're only around for so long, and then they're replaced with newer finishes. So we've been able to keep up to date with the finishes, and then we just have to have the schemes rephotographed and re-rendered, and we're trying to keep on top of it. But it is a job to follow up with all those finishes.
Are you finding because maybe shipping is taking a little bit longer due to COVID that you're having to source more local products? Or are most of your products already local?
Yeah, we try to work with, so our products are available across Canada. So everything we've spec'd, if you live in Canada, you'll be able to order it from your local showroom or rep. So it's not a problem. And so we've tried to stick with Canadian companies as much as possible, but it's also, we can't work with as many really small companies as we would like to, because we have to be able to accommodate all of Canada. And so I don't think the supply, for instance, the carpet company that we've been working with, they're a local Vancouver company. They distribute across Canada, but their supply is all imported anyway. So even though they're local, the carpet isn't made locally. So it's, I don't know if that has an effect. I think everything that's imported, there's risk that there's going to be holdups. So including the finishes we've sourced. So
last time I saw you, it could have been during lunch or maybe at the interior design show with you and Tanya.
That's right. That is the last time I saw you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, you guys had a really nice display. That's when you first kind of featured and talked about Spec. How has the business been going with COVID?
Well, at the interior design show, our goal was we had a booth there and we had a couple of prototypes on display, and our goal was to just get everyone's feedback. And the good thing about the IDS West is that there's homeowners and contractors, developers, trades, interior designers, architects, like everyone attends these shows. So we were able to gather a lot of feedback and information from the people that attended the show. The response was amazing, and it made our finished product so much better because we could consider all of the feedback we had received at the show. So I'm forgetting what was your question, Jenny? Sorry.
Oh, how has your business changed in the last 13, 14 months? Yeah.
Well, of course, there was some delays with COVID. So we had anticipated launching earlier than we actually did because we were held up. As you know, the world shut down for a little bit. I had a baby. I was pregnant at the design show. So that held things up a little bit. So we launched later than we had expected. And the development of the website took a bit longer than we had expected because we just really wanted to get it right. And we really wanted to get to have strong relationships with all of our suppliers. So we think we've developed such good relationships with all of our suppliers that we're working with thus far. So it held us up, but I think we ended up with a stronger product because of it gave us extra time to really work on the details.
I'm actually really interested in knowing your process of putting the packages together. So, and I guess in general, how interior designers work in terms of like putting the color schemes together. Because there's so many options and so many different colors of whites, colors of blues, and walk us through that process of an interior designer's mind.
Yeah. So how we started with these packages is we developed like a Pinterest page. So we had different pages for different schemes, and then we just really used those as visual boards to collect ideas for each one of these schemes so we could really visualize what we wanted the end product to look like. So we developed these pages on Pinterest, and then from there Tanya has sourced the materials and she's done the drawings. So she could tell you more about her process if you're interested. But so from there, we met with the suppliers, so like the tile supplier and the hardwood suppliers, and then they provided us with samples that met our requirements and our budgets and our needs. And then we were able to narrow down all the samples and the finishes to a scheme that reflected the desired interior, the look of the interior. So so that's our process in a nutshell. And then of course Tanya went on to draft like the, I don't know if you can see, but like the backsplash tile, you can see like the layout of the tile, because just giving you the tile alone doesn't give a clear enough picture of how the finished product should look. So we were able to go more into detail with the drawings, and that's our process.
This reminds me of like an IKEA for interior design, where you try and make it as easy as possible, like the paint by numbers, but this is what it should look like.
Right.
I love that. That's really neat.
Just simple. We're trying to just like simplify the process, because it can be so overwhelming for people to make these big decisions, and it's a huge investment, whether you're building a new house or whether you're renovating your kitchen or your home. It can be so stressful to commit to all the finishes. Like, there's so many decisions you have to make. And I don't think you realize how many decisions there are until you're in the process. And so we've just really wanted to take the stress out of that and just simplify it. And we've been through this so many times with private residential clients that we kind of know what schemes are the most desirable. And yeah, exactly.
Actually, what is trending right now in terms of color schemes and furniture?
What is trending? Well, it would depend on who you ask, really. But what I'm finding is like muted jewel tones is trending. And I think we're still finishing our homes in fairly neutral finishes. So we still have like the blonde wood floors. I think the flooring is going a bit more gold in color, a little less like bleached out and whitewash, and a little warmer and more natural. But I think that the pieces that you're building into your home, like the finishes, are still fairly neutral. High contrast is trending, like black fixtures or black, islands with a white surrounding cabinets. But then really personalizing the spaces with interesting hardware or interesting light fixtures, and bringing personality in through those items that you can switch up over time. And then obviously like paint colors that we're talking about developing paint packages. So it can be an add-on to the spec packages, because of course the paint that we've spec'd in the packages is all fairly neutral, but we will be developing some more like trendy paint schemes if you're wanting to, go a bit more vibrant on your walls. And so, and then you asked about furniture. Like, I think that we're still like mixing different eras of furniture. I think that it makes it, when you mix different styles, it keeps like, it just feels like the space has more personality, and it's been developed over time as opposed to like all bought at one store at the same time. So really like more of an eclectic look, natural materials, worldly accents, like worldly artwork or accessories that look like they've been collected. And of course the like the Art Deco era, I found a lot. I find that a lot in design is like little like references to that Art Deco style, like the curved lines and like, kidney shaped coffee tables. And I think, but I don't feel like we should be conforming to these styles. That's just maybe just because that's what's in the stores right now doesn't mean that's the right way. Like, it's just important to think about what appeals to you. And I don't think we should take these trends too seriously, because it evolves, right?
So if a homeowner was to take the color schemes and the spec boxes, how do they make it more personable or more colorful to their style?
So we do specify the decorative light fixtures, and we do specify like the hardware for the cabinetry, but you could switch that up to something even like more wild or more your style or more colorful if that's what you're after. So you could switch those specs. Also wallpaper, accent walls. You could paint in your powder room. You could paint your ceiling black or do something, paint a bold color on the ceiling to bring some more color into the space. So and like wall hooks, and of course, through furniture and artwork. You're welcome to, or if you wanted like a crazy backsplash tile in your kitchen, you could just like replace the one that we've spec'd for something with a bit more color or personality or more the style that you were hoping to incorporate. So there's lots of ways of kind of spicing it up. Yeah.
Are you, why don't you tell, now that we're talking about so much about spec, but let's talk more about your personal business. Okay. Some of your personal design services that you're offering.
Yeah, so I do interior design still. And So now that I have a baby, of course, I'm not as available as much as around the clock like I used to be. And so I've been quite selective about the projects that I've been taking on. I still love furniture, decor. I love personalizing artwork. I love, working with clients who are willing to think out of the box a little bit and willing to kind of trust me with suggestions that might not be as conventional as they're used to. So, so that's my focus. And then Tanya is still doing high-end private residential interior design. So
I remember when you were helping with my house, we were going shopping like all over the city. And that was like a really fun process. I think you took a very overwhelming situation for me and just too many options, and just like helped me narrow down what would go with each other. What decor items would go with what pillows or throws or vases or that was a really, really fun process.
I'm so glad that I was able to help with that, relieve some stress, because it is overwhelming. Like there's so much choice out there, and there's such a variety in price point and quality and availability and color and pattern, and it's like it can be daunting, and it should be fun. Like it's your home, and it's not a necessity to decorate, and so it should be an enjoyable, fun process. So I'm glad that was your experience, Jenny.
Yeah. How do you find most of your clients? Because I would imagine, like us realtors, it's a very competitive market.
Right.
Who are your clients basically?
Tanya and I were just talking about this, because both Tanya and I, we have repeat clients, and then we get our clients through word of mouth generally. So it's either we've worked for one of their friends or family members, or they've been referred to us through another interior designer. So that happens quite often. But it's funny because Spec, like this new company of ours, we haven't had a company like this before, where we're trying to spread the word across Canada, and it isn't as much referral based as our own private residential interior design companies. So it's totally different. But so word of mouth is definitely how we get most of our clients, or meet most of our clients.
I'm actually super curious how your personal home looks like. Like what kind of design style is it?
I'll show you. I'll send you some pictures. It's we've been renovating, actually. So we've been renovating for 3 years. And so I've been living in major renovations for 3 years. And my husband, he's a contractor. He builds commercial buildings. So I have the easy job of being the designer and like having the vision, and then he has been doing the work. So our house is we're almost there. We're almost finished, but it's white walls. We have shiplap on our ceiling, white shiplap on our ceiling in our kitchen, because we're hiding. Our house is built in the late 80s. And so we ripped down the wall between the living room and the kitchen. And then we had to hide the work that we did on the ceiling in the kitchen. So we covered it in shiplap, and then our walls are all white. We have it looks like exposed aggregate tile in our kitchen, and then white millwork in the kitchen with open shelving. And then we have an island that he actually built concrete, like 2-inch thick concrete counters and waterfall edges for. So it's like kind of industrial feeling. And then we have clear bocce fixtures above our kitchen island. So we've incorporated the local Vancouver company bocce. They're like fixtures throughout our house. And we worked actually we worked with American Standards line DXV at one of the interior design shows. And we worked with them on a display of a bathroom that I had designed. And so we have a very similar feeling bathroom in our house to that one. So like an oversized bathtub and just very clean and minimal. But then I've brought in a lot of pieces for my travels. So even though the base palette is quite minimal and neutral, there's a lot of like artwork and accent pieces and accessories that I've bought from like, that I collected in my travels through like Europe and Asia, and he's actually from New Zealand, so he has a lot of pieces from New Zealand and some really beautiful like carvings from their indigenous people, and it's a mix.
Feels like I really want to visit and
Come visit.
sleep over.
Come visit. Yeah, anytime.
It sounds beautiful. Angela,
Yeah,
did you also design the wall behind you right now at your mom's place?
Oh, I didn't at all. I have nothing to do with this.
You didn't.
But it's,
I just love it.
Yeah, it's a stone wall. My dad and my brother laid the stone, and then my mom's been working on on growing the plants and keeping them green.
They're real plants, right?
Yeah, they're real plants. Yeah. And then there's
Wow.
they all come out of this base planter on the floor. So
Wow. Some final questions. Do you have time for 10 fire rapid questions for us?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. What inspires you when designing a space?
The clients, their story.
So what kind of questions would you be asking actually?
I actually send out a questionnaire to clients asking them a whole list of questions like what their heritage is, if they have siblings, how they entertain, like are they formal, are they casual entertainers, what are their hobbies, like maybe they run, do marathons, or maybe they're world travelers, or they'll elaborate on their hobbies. So I ask questions like that, and of course what their favorite colors are they allergic to any materials like wool, or do they like certain finishes like chrome or matte black or glass or marble. And so I ask all these questions before I even start on a project. So it gives me a really clear idea of who they are and what their lifestyle looks like. And then from there, I'm able to personalize.
If you could decorate anyone's house in the world, who would it be?
Okay. I guess I would decorate, like the first thing that comes to mind is like an artist, but like I don't have a specific person, but like an artist, maybe a ballerina or a dancer or someone who's artistic, but maybe in a different medium. So they would have an artistic and creative input and, energy, but they don't necessarily have the skills that I do. So I could I think that could be an interesting collaboration.
That's cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your most treasured possession?
Possession. I have these really beautiful, I was in Vietnam a couple years ago with a friend, and I have these really beautiful woven backpacks that I brought back. I was backpacking over there, and I brought them back in my backpack. And we were in a local village, and we were able to see the process of them making these backpacks and smoking they smoked some of the grass over top of fire, so it darkened the grass, and that's how they created the pattern within the woven backpacks. And every village there has a different pattern that represents their story. So I have two of these like woven kind of basket backpacks that I treasure. So yeah,
I love those
awesome.
type of purchases.
A one piece of advice that you would give for anyone starting out in the interior design business.
So advice would be, I guess, just like, I can only speak from my own journey, and the best thing that I did when I moved to Vancouver, I didn't really have any connections and I didn't know anyone in the industry. And so I just attended everything. Like there's so many industry events and parties. And even if you're in interior design school, you're welcome to join these events and parties. Maybe not during COVID times, but after this is all over. And it's very much like a community, the design industry, and everyone's connected, everyone knows each other. And I found it to be a very supportive, kind community. And so I would advise people to just get to know the community, and they will support you and you will be able to learn from them. I know in the design community, like we often call each other to ask about like how to deal with different types of clients or how to deal with different types of contracts. And it's just, so just get connected and don't feel like it's competitive. It doesn't have to be competitive. Like it's just your work and your career will go so much better if you work together and support each other. So
I do miss those events. Having it virtual online is not the same.
I know, and they have like good snacks and drinks, and it's always a good time.
All the sweat, all the free pens and the bags that you get with it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's one mistake most homeowners make when making a design decision?
I think that I know the first one that comes to mind is like people choosing their paint colors based on websites. Like I've seen a few times where people have gone online and they've searched for, a color grade that they like. Maybe they're traveling and they send that code back home to their painter, and then often with grays, it'll read more like purple or pink or blue in the room. So that's one super common mistake with whites and grays. And I think just feeling like you have to conform to like the styles and the trends and it always depends. Like you have to consider why you're building the house. Are you building the house or renovating the house for yourself, for your family, or are you renovating with the market in mind? Like, are you renovating so that in 2 years you can sell? So I think that the choices that you make for the finishes and the layout and like all the interior details, you have to know, like, are you doing it for yourself? Or are you doing it for a future homeowner? And then if it's for yourself, then just choose things that you love. Like fall in love with, a beautiful tile, an accent tile, and then don't feel like you have to water it down because that's what the trends say. Like I think just follow your gut. And
I can say I've made that mistake before then.
Have you?
For sure. Yes.
Where? Can you elaborate?
No, just taking a look at a wall color in a magazine or something else, like on a building, and I'm like, oh, I want that color. But it totally does not look the same in my own room.
I know. Well, there's so many factors, right? Like your lighting is different than in that magazine. Like your
carpet,
windows, they're facing in a different direction. Maybe you have a different lighting setup. And it's just so important to get like a big swatch of the color or paint a big sample patch on your wall before pulling the trigger on the whole house. Cause it's,
that's a good tip.
Yeah. And you can buy little sample pods and painters, or you could paint them yourself. Like it's easy to just paint a little section and you're only out your time and maybe $20 before you have it's better to do that than to have to repaint
have a whole
your
room
house,
painted.
So.
Yeah. What's your favorite design project so far?
That I've worked on or that I have seen other people work on?
That you've worked on.
There's a few, I can think of a few. Actually, you know what though? I was thinking of private residential because I've worked with just such amazing homeowners and clients that I love that have become friends. And it was such an enjoyable time working on their project and personalizing their home. But I had the opportunity a few years ago to actually design a real estate office, and it was it was on Broadway, and it was totally out of my comfort zone because I don't do office spaces typically. And this particular one, it's not on my website. We did have it photographed, but I haven't uploaded it. And this particular one was like very contemporary and stark and minimal and hard, and then we used like concrete and glass and metal, and it was fun to work on because it took me out of my comfort zone, and so that was it was a good project to work on.
What's your current read right now?
Book that you're reading or?
Well, I'm not reading anything right now. love anything Brene Brown, to be honest. I'm just a sucker for Brene Brown. And so I've read most of her books, and I find I'll read the same book over and over, or I'll watch her talks over and over, and I will get something. It's just a good like reminder, and it checks me if I read it or listen to it every year or so. And so, do you know Brene Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
good.
Yeah.
And final question, I know you mentioned this before, but where can our listeners find you or reach out to you?
So I have Instagram under like for my own interior design company. It's Angela. I think it's Angela at Angela Robinson, but the Spec Package, our Instagram is spec_package. And we would love to hear feedback on what you think of our site or our product or ideas you have. Like, we're just so open to ideas and feedback, and we just really want to build a great product that works for people. So so spec_package. And our website is specpackage.ca.
And I saw on your website until May 31st, everyone can get 20% off plus free delivery as long as they use the code SAVE20.
Yes, always free delivery. But yeah, we have 20% off right now.
And your personal website is angelarobinson.ca.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. This is a wealth of information and amazing product. Like, I think you've really hit a really good niche where someone doesn't really know where to start, but they want to feel great in their space, doesn't have the budget for a personal interior designer or a shopper. This has really hit a good marketplace.
Thank you, Jenny, and thanks for all of your support throughout the years. Tony, so good to meet you today.
You too, Angela. So lovely to meet you. I'm going to follow you on social media. I'd love to keep up with what you're up to.
Perfect. I'll follow you back. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Angela.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.